What's up, everybody, and welcome to the Wait What We Talk About podcast, episode 126. My name is Bret, aka Enigma9011, and you join the podcast every week when it's live over on twitch.tv/Enigma9011 every Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern. You can join the chat if you're a subscriber over there. We'd love to have you, but if you can't catch it live, that's A-OK. You can go over to YouTube and podcast services the very next week, where it's broken out topic by topic and put as one big video and MP3 for your amusement. And then last but not least, hashtag ad merch store and get all of your swag over there, t-shirts, cups, backpacks, and more. Rep the brand, support us, and we would love you for it. So yes, today we're back with another solo episode, and I want to kick this episode off by talking about that new Fortnite season. I think we're on, season 2, chapter 3, season 2, who fucking knows. It's pretty. It comes with a lot of changes compared to the regular Fortnite formula. Still get your battle pass, still get your levels, your V-Buck crap, all that stuff. But a big part of Fortnite and their battle royale obviously is the building mechanic. Build structures, hotels if you're against these 10-year-old kids who are insane. And for this season, at least at the beginning, they have decided to simply eradicate building. You can no longer build walls, stairs, roofs, floors, anything. You can't build shit. Materials mean nothing. No more wood, brick, steel that you're trying to gather up or get from other enemies. It is simply just run and gun. The things that they have added to kind of counterbalance that as a little bit of more mobility for the players. Last season they introduced a slide mechanic, which at first took a little bit of getting used to, but I think over time, at least from a mobility standpoint, really became intuitive. I don't know from a combat standpoint, at least myself and Lady, when we play it, we're not really using that, and I don't see it against people that we come against often, like somebody sliding into the combat or using it to shoot while they shoot, etc. It just seems to be like this mode of transportation. You're going down a hill, you can go down it faster, you need to get to the circle or the safe area faster. The sliding, that seems to be what it's being used for. And with this season, they've added on top of that, they've now added, there was already running, but now they've added like an additional sprint on top of what you can already do. Comes with a little bit of a stamina bar, so as you sprint, the bar will deplete and will eventually run out. Recharges relatively quickly, but you can use that. And now they also have mantling, so because you can't build to these higher sections of the map, whether it's a roof or whatever it might be, if you jump, you essentially, not a double jump, but like you would execute a double jump, you have the ability to grab a ledge and pull yourself up, similar to an Apex and some other shooters that have come out in the past. And playing it today on the season drop, it's interesting. It's interesting to kind of play around with. It's definitely a lot stressful because not having this mechanic, obviously for the game's lifespan since, whenever it launched, and seeing either players or NPCs scaling up to a position where you're at and you're not expecting it, quite terrifying. So there's that fun aspect of it, of kind of just getting used to it, getting acclimated to these controls in this type of game. And I think that's something that I will credit Epic for. While these decisions might not be everybody's favorite of getting rid of the building, I do like that they kind of experiment with their game and try and do new and different things. I think it keeps the game exciting, keeps, interest there instead of just plain old, same old. I'm not shitting on Call of Duty, but Call of Duty is the same game mode over and over again. And you could say that for a lot of games. But at least with these small tweaks and changes, it's like, hey, does this work? Hey, doesn't this work? And, you can kind of play around with it from there. Now, for these mobility things, awesome. For the building stuff, a little bit surprising of how much we miss it. Lady and I have never been the players of we're going to build a hotel, we're going to build this whole structure and this whole thing, especially in the final sequences of trying to, get all the materials, build these structures, defend ourselves, do whatever it is, we would more do like the practical usage. Like, I need to get to this elevated position, stairs, floors, whatever I need to get there, move on to the next spot. So now, not having that, it's surprising on how much that's affecting us. And I think it's more of a defensive thing. When we run into an enemy team, we're getting shot. If something's not going our way, you could always put up a wall, buy yourself a little bit of time, whether it's to heal, to reposition, whatever it might be. And now you don't have that ability. Just overall surprising how much, not we relied on that, but how much that's affecting our gameplay, and makes you kind of rethink once again of, how do I do this? And I've noticed myself having to like maneuver myself a lot more. Maybe it's a flanking or just running away from the battle to regather myself, to refocus, then I can attack again. So that's something interesting I noticed with today's gameplay and the lack of building and not being able to. As far as I know, it doesn't seem like this will be something that's lasting the whole season. They already have missions at the very beginning called Rebuilding, which it's like, from the Fortnite story point, the people who are invading and the warring sides, the invading side has caused your ability to build to disappear. So it seems like these missions are like trying to counteract that weapon EMP type thing, to nullify it and get things back to normal. So I think it's just a fun little experiment for at least a little while. On Twitter, surprisingly, I've seen a lot of people actually excited to hop back into Fortnite because the building is gone. So that'll be interesting to see like how the player base changes. I don't know if I just don't follow like Fortnite specific creators who like people who've been playing this game for years, and seeing like the other side of that argument, like, oh, they got rid of building, what the fuck is that? Like that negative feedback. I've only seen the more what's the word? Like looking forward to it positive reaction to this change than the opposite. But everything can't all be positive. So some other changes that they made to this season. So I kind of alluded to it earlier. In the story of Fortnite, I know that's a weird concept to kind of grasp because it's a battle royale. In the story they're trying to tell with the overall world is it's one side warring against this other side. And with this war, the invading side is bringing airships and tanks along with them. And the airships are fine. It's essentially just, an elevated base. You can go in there, loot, all that jazz. But the tanks is another thing. And vehicles have always been kind of a rough point for Fortnite. Not that they don't work, but at some points it feels like the vehicles are overpowered or just kind of, for a lack of a better term, fuck everything up. It's just like if you get that, not a guaranteed win, but it's so hard to oppose those vehicles or the weapons of those types, like a turret, that it doesn't seem fair to the opposing side. Like in most games, any online game, balance is key. You want the most level playing field you have, and then obviously the skill level kind of takes over from there. Obviously what player has played more or understands the game mechanics more, like that's where the differential comes in with the skill base. It shouldn't be something with the resource, I guess, if that makes sense. So when these things are introduced, I get it. Like, hey, this is a powerful thing. I should use it. Yes, I get that. The meta, if you want to get into the technical terms of stuff. But dealing with these tanks so far has been quite the pain in the ass. I think Lady and I got to maybe Final 5, and there was a team in a tank rolling around. And unfortunately, like, just by our luck, the tank found us. I was able to get away for a little while, but not when I was able to reemerge and attack once again. I wasn't able to do enough really an offensive standpoint to face the tank. They have added a few more explosives into the match. Proximity mines are back, which aren't really damage dealing, but they do now have the remote explosives back, which great, because obviously the explosives will do more against the vehicles themselves, but for that specific type, I don't know if that will be effective, that remote, because that seems like set it, and then obviously I have to detonate it myself. I don't know how far I can throw the thing. If I can land it on the tank, maybe that will be effective. But it's just something that now you have to kind of plan ahead for if you run into that towards the end game, compared to maybe your regular loadout. For mine, for example, 3 guns, 2 healing. Now I have to kind of play around with that, like, okay, shit, now I gotta have explosives just in case this situation arises and I need to deal with that. And like I said, Fortnite's been kind of like 50-50 on vehicles when they attempt them. The cars, I think, are fine. The boats are fine. I've never really run too much into issues with the boats and their rocket launcher. I feel those are pretty manageable when they do arise. But the turrets, they've had turrets before. The most recent time they had turrets, that wasn't a big deal. The biplanes, I think, were okay, but at some points those were very annoying to deal with as a player on the ground, having to look up, search for those types of things. But yeah, the tanks seem to be a little bit much. And once again, it could just be early season, not woes, but problems of just adjusting to it. With this season seemingly tying into this war story mode, it doesn't seem like the tanks will be going anywhere. But once again, to Epic's favor, they do a great job of user feedback. This weapon's too powerful. This weapon does too much. This. And they'll take that feedback into account and make adjustments pretty quickly, like week to week, of, no, this is too much. We'll pull it from the game mode for now, maybe reintroduce it, or we'll adjust certain things. So, to their credit, adjustments can be made. But once again, maybe it's just early stuff. We got to learn how to deal with it. But yeah, I'm just, overall, with these changes, it's cool to see. Once again, circling back to earlier, it keeps it fresh, it keeps it exciting. And I think that's something that has helped the longevity of this game, is they're willing to mess around with it in order to see if it can get better. It's not just, nope, it works, all right, just let it run and then let the cash flow in and eventually die off. I like how they're trying these new things, similar to last season with, like, even the storm systems, the tornadoes that would eventually spawn, or the thunderstorms. Like, not these huge game-changing aspects, but something neat to kind of see and deal with as you're going around in the game mode. Battle Pass this season's okay. We get some Marvel crossovers. We get Doctor Strange at the end of the season pass, obviously tying in with the Doctor Strange movie coming out in May. And then also as the bonus outfit, we're getting Prowler from Spider-Man, Miles Morales. So for me personally, those are really cool. The rest of the skins, I'd say, are okay. Nothing like super crazy. The first one you do start with, like a robot ninja anime waifu, has some cooler variations on later. So that will be interesting to kind of customize her. And then also her pickaxe is very customizable, similar to Haven's Mask of last season, where you collect feathers. This season you collect, I think it's like Omni cards or chips or some shit like that. And you can use those to unlock parts of the pickaxe and customize it, whether it shapes, the color of the blade, how the blade looks, how many blades there are. If it's 2 pickaxes, it's 1. So just something to work towards, which I always personally enjoyed. It's just that little bit of extra incentive and reward for, like, I'm playing this for a reason, not just rinse repeat kind of thing. But I know everybody's got their own reasons for playing. Obviously, play how you want to play, enjoy it how you want to enjoy it. But yeah, excited for the new season of Fortnite. Like I said, I think the changes are good. Some things, just maybe that adjustment period will help, giving it more time Granted, as of recording, it's only day one, so we haven't had that much time playing it. We'll have to see how it goes down the future. We still have 2.5 months of this season, so there's time to adjust. But yeah, excited to play more, excited for the new content. Seemed to get a little stale towards the end of obviously last season because we were at that point, but excited to jump back into it now at full force.